Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Purpose and Profit. I am joined today with Alyssa. Alyssa is an amazing mom, an entrepreneur. She founded her own company, Elite Hub, and her goal is to make sure that she assists real estate investors in getting everything completed on time and with heart, which is vital in our space and all of the people that we're working with. So welcome, Alyssa. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I just love your color scheme too, because it kind of goes with mine. So that's super fun. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this.
Yeah, no, it does. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I just love you so much. And so tell me, and your mom, but tell me how did you get started? How did you get into this space?
Yeah. So great question. And yeah, shout out to my mom. We kind of joined this together. So I started out in traditional real estate in 2017. As a traditional broker, if you will, or an agent. But now I talk crap about agents, so that's always fun. So started out as an agent, and I loved the real estate aspect, but I didn't love being an agent. And any agent that kind of goes into the investor space, I think, can probably relate a little bit. So I did some office leadership and kind of started getting more into the ops role and started really thriving in that role. Helped run a team. I was his director of operations and he was the rainmaker. So, and then that's kind of where I started TCing for traditional real estate. And then I got pregnant and COVID hit. So everything kind of changed. And that was my start to being a mom entrepreneur. And so I went into full mom mode for a while and we did some projects, for ourselves. We did like a long-term flip. We bought our first rental property. Then we bought another rental property, sight unseen. We did all of the fun investor things that people are like, you probably shouldn't do it. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is so fun, Um, so then we moved down to Arizona and we heard Pace on a podcast. And in that time, we were also looking for our first short-term flip. And if anyone doesn't really know, like short-term flip, like, 3 to 6 months, like a normal flip versus like a more of a live-in flip that's how we flipped before. So we were looking for our first flip and heard Pace on a podcast and got a flip. So we kind of were like, okay, cool. Pace Morby, he's over in this like little corner. Did the flip, came back to Arizona because it was out of state. And I was like, are we doing this like creative finance sub 2 thing or what? And my husband was like, I don't know. Like, what do you want to do, babe? And I was like, fine, I'm doing it. Like, I was like, we're going to do it. And then my mom came to visit me. And this is like all happening at like one time. And my mom was talking about like kind of stuff going on in her life. And she's like, yeah, like the next step in my life. And I was like, Mom, do this creative finance thing with me. I'm like, if Honey's not going to come with me, I'm just going to pull someone with me. And she's like, okay, like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, just send your email here. And so I kind of just like brought her in. And we dove into TC, like creative TC world, which is very different than traditional. And that is what started it all. Working obviously with my mom in the mom space. She was a teen mom when she had me. And so we have that special bond in that. And so it's been really fun to see her grow and stretch in this area alongside of me, but in her own way. That part kind of gets me emotional every time. Just we don't have a relationship like a lot of people do. And so it's been very special to do that. And then just starting the team and then having her kind of, support from the side and, just go like, okay, keep going, like I'll call her and she'll be like, okay, are you just venting right now or do you need me to fix it? I'm like, I'm just venting right now. Business is hard, And so, that is, kind of what we started. And so just started out as TCs and then now we're, helping investors dispo and find properties and really just becoming a hub for investors so we can solve their problems.
That's amazing. And I love the fact that you and your mom together like are just a dynamic team. And I know that you and I talked previously, when you were on the fence on Owners Club, she's the one that really like pushed you to spread your wings. And I think that having someone in the space with you is such a beautiful gift. And like, then it's your mom. So it's like a double.
Yeah, it's like a double whammy. And of course, like my husband's, he's working on stuff now, but he was just more slow to kind of come in. And so just being able to like link arms with my mom. Yeah. I mean, but she was like, she looked at me during the presentation for Owners Club and she could tell I was teetering with it. And totally, she's like, just go for it. We'll be fine. It'll be fine. The team will be fine. So, and it's drastically changed the team in such a good, beautiful way. So I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys are kind of like a go-to for investors and anything that they might need in this space. And so
Mhm.
tell me, like, what is your favorite part of that? What just sets you on fire with that?
Yeah. My favorite part, because yeah, we do want to be that one-stop shop just for an investor, especially new investors. I think my favorite part really is the coaching and walking them through different scenarios. Even before we got on today, I had one of my closers get on. He's newer in real estate, right? And he's just like, okay, what about this? And what about that? And so being able to just really, one, use my experience in real estate, use the team's experience in real estate in different aspects, and just be able to like educate, which I've never really thought of myself as a teacher or anything, but um, just the creativeness of it, and then just being able to share that. And I mean, a long time ago I had no idea what I was talking about, and now I'm like, hey, I know what I'm talking about, like.
That's awesome. And I think that one of the benefits to newer investors working with seasoned teams and stuff like that is that they get that you get hundreds of transactions of experience
Mhm.
in your tool belt. And that is a dynamite partner to have in the foxhole. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and we've seen it all.
Yes. And if we haven't, we have friends that have.
That have seen it. Yeah,
We have the resources to get it done. So that's awesome.
yeah,
Um, so what's your big vision? I know everyone's kind of chasing a Mount Everest right now. So where are you
yeah.
leading with that?
Yeah, so my Mount Everest kind of has something to do with like obviously the business that I'm building with the hub. But my Mount Everest is to empower 100 mom entrepreneurs to change their mindset to owner so that they can make $1 million in real estate. So everyone's journey in that will look a little bit different, but me then building out the ecosphere, if you will call it, with my businesses, with, the TC side, the dispo side, eventually we'll get into lending. We're going to buy businesses too. And so being able to plug them into that ecosphere with whatever they want, and help nurture and grow them so that they can make $1 million.
That's beautiful. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes you just need proof that it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Totally.
I'm part of another real estate group that's all women, and all the time, like, I some of the things I hear sometimes I just want to be like, why do you say that? Like, we can do anything.
Totally.
And we do, like, we juggle, you and I are joking before we come on air, like how we keep our kids out of the room and how we like do the things. But the reality is like our ability to multitask and juggle and do the things is a super skill.
It totally is a superpower because, I mean, and I was joking even when I was talking with people at the Owners Club immersion, they're like, wow, that's great. I'm like, yeah, we had babies. Like everything else is like super easy comparative, right? Than birthing a child. And my second one came in 15 minutes at home, like midwife was on her way. And so I was like, girl, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like you had that baby in 15 minutes. So it's like, as moms, we kind of are the best entrepreneur. Now, granted, I'm a little biased, but we're really great at multitasking. We can handle the chaos of, kids coming in and asking a question, still being engaged. Like we are superhumans. And so we really can have it all. That's kind of been my mantra for the year, is like, we can do it all. We can have it all. We can do it all. Is every day going to be perfect? No. Is every day going to be chaotic? No. But showing up every day, that is the consistency that will have you have it all.
Absolutely. And I think you have to have a tribe. You have to have
Yeah.
people that know what you're going through and those struggles and understand that, like you said, like sometimes you just call your mom to just like let that out.
Yeah.
And there's business frustrations, there's kids frustrations. I heard a analogy one time, and it said that, being a mom and an entrepreneur is kind of like juggling, and sometimes those balls are glass and sometimes they're not, and you have to
Mhm.
know on each day which
Yeah.
one's glass that you can't let drop and which ones you can.
Totally.
And so, but the reality is that for many years I was in corporate, and you don't get the flexibility. You don't get to
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I have doctor's appointment today. I'm going to take half the day so I can start my day at 3 a.m. and stack my day around my appointments."
Totally.
Versus a W-2, you just can't do that.
Yeah. And I think it's also been amazing to have the kids watch work, like you work for something, one that you want and just work hard versus a W-2. Now, granted, we've all had, us entrepreneurs, we started out most likely in a W-2, right? I had a W-2, but it's like, and this is so cliche to say, but you're building someone else's dream. And so then to have a vision and then be able to cast that to your kids and be like, no, we're going after it. Now, granted, my kids are a little younger. So, my son wants a bass boat, So, like, okay, buddy, well, we got to save up for the bass boat, which means I'm going to have to maybe do a couple more meetings. And so, but then to have him have that almost be his goal, and then like us to be able to go have it and make it happen. Don't know when we're getting the bass boat, but like that's his big thing lately. And I'm like, whatever, you boys talk about it, we'll go make it happen and it's fine.
That's,
So, yeah.
well, and you're arming them with tools that you don't get any other way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he asks about taxes. I mean, I've got a very questionable, no, that's not even the right thing, but he asks a lot of questions. He wants to know the knowledge. And so it's been fun to just teach him that in the entrepreneurial way. And I wouldn't be able to do that any other way. So it really is like, just go after it. You got this, mom. You
All
might be tired.
mom do everything, and that's okay. That's okay. Tired is good, and they also, they need to see that. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what are you looking for if someone wanted to bring you value? How do they do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the biggest thing that we are doing right now in the hub is we are building out our bird dog reverse wholesale side team, arm, whatever you kind of want to call it, ecosphere, mini ecosphere. And so, we're looking for buy boxes because we want to really empower people to buy real estate this year, and we want to be able to find them their deals, because then obviously then that feeds my team as well via being able to TC assignment fees, and so focusing on that active income for my team, and so sending us buy boxes because we've got some hungry people that want to sell some deals this year. So our goal is to have $1 million worth of assignments by January. So we got a lot of work to do, and it's gonna be awesome.
That is. Is there certain markets, or are you guys in all 50 states?
All 50 states. So if you're focused just in Florida, send us your buybacks, and we'll pull the list for Florida. We'll work on those relationships. We're doing direct to agent, direct to seller. So we just want to be that ecosphere and solve everyone's problems.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay. And then how can everyone get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is actually by text. I know one day I will regret saying that on a recorded clone of me, but text. So 425-343-9039. Don't Facebook message me. I won't see it for like 7 to 10 business days. So yeah, that's the best way. And obviously sometimes there's delays because everyone's texting me, but I will get back to you because I work from my phone. So I see it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope that I'm kind of excited to circle back in a few months and just kind of see how all of it's going. And I
Yeah.
am sure that you guys are going to hit your goal. And so I hope everyone sends you their buy boxes and that you guys have a lot of success.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. Thank you.